Hey, what's happening, everybody? What's going on? It is Saturday, and we're talking about the foundation for your success. And so, one of the things that I wanted to share with you and talk to you about is some of the things that I'm doing for myself and that I want to encourage others to do. And it's the topic of today. Are you keeping your gas tank full? And I know that you don't get in your car and just drive. Let's say you live in Vegas and you want to drive to California. You don't just get in the car and start driving unless you know the gas tank is full. And even then, you're trying to plan where you're going to stop to make sure you don't run out of gas along the way. The same can be said for your body. So I remember when I first started the entrepreneurial journey, when I first started to believe that I can build a business. And I was doing a lot of things. I was trying to run a business, still working full time. I was trying to help and assist in my household. I was trying to serve in my church. I was trying to help my kids. I was staying up late, getting up early, trying to work out. And I believed and I wholeheartedly thought that I was showing up 100% of the time. I said, I'm going to give every aspect of my life 100%. And you know what? I wasn't. To be honest, I was running on fumes. I had no margin for error. I had no quiet time, no time for me. And it started to show up in different areas of my life. And unfortunately, one of the things that started to happen is I found myself being a little bit irritable. I started to show up in a way that I didn't like to be. And so my attitude, my clarity, and my creativity started to diminish. All right. And so for me, one of the things that I want to encourage you is to ask that specific question. How am I filling my tank? And am I consistently filling my tank? Because if you aren't, you need to make sure that you are. You need to make sure that you're doing these things to help you truly identify how you can continue to give. So the thing that let's talk about the three things that you can do. The first thing is you can't give what you don't have. And so I believe it's important that you set aside time for your personal growth. I believe that it's important that you set a time for rest. Make sure that you're resting and you're getting to a place where you can get rejuvenated, refueled, recalibrated, because that's going to be important, right? When you pour out your wisdom, your joy, your fire, your focus, you need to make sure that you're getting it in return. And so where are you going to get that? You can be the best for others only when you are the best for yourself, by taking care of yourself, loving yourself, and doing that for the people around you as well. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is something that I had to learn, and it was really challenging for me initially. And it's refueling isn't a luxury, it's a discipline. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine. We were in Japan and we were sitting down talking about, I was joking with him. I'm like, bro, you are constantly taking breaks. And he was like, if you want to be successful in life, you got to take frequent breaks. And I was thinking to myself, that's a good point, but I don't want to be perceived as lazy. And in that moment, I started thinking, why is it that I'm so worried about other people's opinion? You know what self-care looks like? Taking a vacation. You know what self-care looks like? Taking a break. You know what self-care looks like? Eating right. You know what self-care looks like? Working out. The things that you do for yourself is so that you can show up the best way that you can for the people that you love, for yourself, so that you can be around for generations to come. Now, this isn't something that I want to, harp on too much, but self-care isn't something that's new. It's become more evident, and it's something that we need to make sure that we're doing. So I want you to develop a healthy rhythm in your life. Are you resting? Are you laughing? Are you connected? I remember hearing a friend of mine say, you need to laugh at yourself. And I started looking at him and he's like, laugh at myself. And he said, yeah, you need to stop taking yourself so seriously. You need to laugh at yourself because other people are laughing at you as well. And he didn't mean that in a bad way. He was just saying that you have to take things as they come. Don't be too hard. Don't be too high. Don't be too low. And I started thinking, I was like, where did he hear that before? And I remember him assisting me when I was coaching the boys. And I would always tell the boys, listen, after you made a shot, act like you've been there. After you miss a shot, it's okay. Forget it. Next play. And the thing that I was trying to teach the people that I had worked with, the kids that I worked with, the young men that I was working with, is that you want to act like you've been there before. And the same goes for me. I need to act like I've been there before. So whether I'm high or low, I need to continue to get better. I need to make sure that if I have a win, I enjoy it in the moment. I celebrate it, because that's something that I didn't do well early in my career, right? So refueling is not a luxury. It's a discipline. It's something that you have to do, and something that I'm telling you, you want to do if you're going to do this for the long haul. Whether you are in the military, whether you are a business owner, whether you're an entrepreneur, you don't want to burn yourself out. And this is not a luxury. It's a discipline. The third thing that I want to share with you is what fills you, you need to guard it. I shared a story today, this morning, and it came back to my remembrance. One of the best times that I remember having was early mornings with my grandma. I would go down to the beach with her, and I would walk, and it was probably the best thing to do. We would just go down there, and it felt like we were living our best life. Like, this is back before living your best life was a thing. And I would sit there, and we'd go to the beach, and sometimes we'd walk on the sand. Sometimes we'd get in the water, and it was just whatever felt right that day. And I just really cherish those moments. And then I think about when we would get back home, and I would think, I want to stay at the beach. And she's like, but you got to go to school. Remember, you got to get a good education, because it's important that you do that. And she would get there, she'd make me breakfast, and then I would watch her. And she would go and she would sit down outside. She'd grab her some coffee, and she would say, mi cafecito. And then she would grab a cigar. And I would just watch her smoke a cigar, drink some coffee. And in that moment, all I could think about is, look at my grandma. This lady is a boss. Like, she can do what she wants, when she wants, and ain't nobody telling her different. And it was true. And she was just living her life, but she knew what she needed to do every day. She was intentional about not only being a great example for us, but about how you need to cherish those small moments. I remember talking to a young man recently, and we've become good friends now, talking about what we're going to do in the future. And his name is Javier, and one of the things that he talked about is, it's not just a cup of coffee, right? It's a special moment. It's you pausing in time to be present in the present. And I'll tell you what, if you want to give every aspect of your life 100%, whether this is business, speaking, if you're coaching your clients, if you're on a Zoom call, whatever it is, you gotta be present in the moments. And so how do you get present? How do you get centered? For me, a place of synergy, a place of being centered is working out in the garage. I love to just take some time to work out, but I also realize that some of the most meaningful conversations that I've had have been around a cup of coffee. They've been, smoking a cigar. And so some of the things that I realize is that if these things fill you up, if these things fuel you, you have to guard it. You have to take those special moments and create guardrails around them. It's important that you do that. Now, your quiet time, or the things that refuel you, it can be music. It can be, if you're a person of faith and you like to worship, then do that. But don't lose your spark because you're too caught up in being busy. Being busy is not the same as being productive. I want to challenge you to do that, because it's super important that you walk in your purpose. So as you begin this journey, as you continue to develop yourself, whether you're trying to get promoted on a job, whether you're trying to build a business, whether you're an entrepreneur trying to create impact and go further than you ever thought before, are you keeping your gas tank full? And what are you doing to do that? The steps that I created in my life now it's about creating a rhythm, creating renewal. One of the things that I love to do is I love to travel, but I told myself a few years ago that if I'm going to build a business for my family, it wasn't going to be that I would build my schedule and then have them fit into it. I was going to build my schedule around them. So I have been intentional about taking my family on trips with me so that they can enjoy the different places that I get to go, the different places that I get to speak, and the things that I get to do, so that they can see how I am doing what I'm doing with them and for them, because it's important. And then just being happy in those places, right? whether it's grabbing some ice cream at the location, whether it's spending some quality time with your loved ones, make sure that you don't burn out. And the way that you do that is understanding that you can't build an awesome life if you're exhausted, if you're burnt out, and if you don't have a way to getting your cup filled. So fuel yourself, whether it's with faith, whether it's with rest, whether it's with music, whether it's with joy, whether it's a good old cup of coffee. Make sure that you're refueling yourself. Make sure that you're getting after it. Make sure that you're constantly putting yourself in a place that you're showing up the very best way that you know how. As you go out, what I've been trying to do every day is I'm trying to teach you the things that I'm implementing in my life, but I also want to give you practical steps that you can implement right now. So, what can you do every day moving forward to refuel you, to re-energize you, to renew you? This can be laughing, it can be worship, it can be going for a walk, it can be unplugging from social media for an hour, it can be walking your dog, it can be smoking a cigar, it can be drinking some coffee, or talk to somebody that motivates you. But take some time this week to be intentional about setting some time aside every day to do something that fuels you. And as you reflect over the week and you think about what gave you energy, I want you to write down 3 things. Ask yourself, what gave me energy this week? What got you motivated, inspired, encouraged, fired up? What drained you this week? What could you have done without? What was so like when you got done, it was finished? And then what needs to shift? Those 3 questions are going to help you as you continue to move forward. For me, I always enjoy having conversations with my wife, and it's so funny because she's like, I love having meaningful conversations, and I was like, I do too. And she says that I get fired up when I talk about business and when I talk about like different things like that. So you know what it is that fires you up. So this isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things that matter the most to give you strength. So refuel before you get empty. Make sure that you replenish yourself before you get overwhelmed, because when your tank is full, you move with grace, with grit, and with purpose. Now go out and dominate your space.